What was the last time that you had a game, movie, or show ruined for you by somebody overhyping it? Maybe ruined isn't even the right word because you don't know that it was ruined. You'll just always think that maybe I would have enjoyed it more if I didn't have such a high expectation for it. Maybe if people hadn't said that it was the greatest show they had ever watched, I wouldn't have walked into it expecting my mind to be blown and everything would have been more surprising. Everything would have been more enjoyable because the guy who recommended you that show, that game, that movie, they had such a good time with it and they sung all of its praises. They may have even spoiled things, not full blown spoilers, but just, oh man, you're never going to expect what happens in episode 5. And then, whoops, now you know to expect something crazy in episode 5. So when it hits just a little bit less hard than it should. And all of this adds up across the entire show, and maybe you don't enjoy it like you could have. Or maybe you weren't going to enjoy it to begin with. I want to talk today about managing expectations, not just when you're developing a game, but when you're playing a game. I want to talk about how this ties into marketing and selling a game, or at least some thoughts that I have about it. I don't have that much experience marketing and selling games, but I do have a lot of thoughts about it from having played games my entire life. This is Game, Develop, Repeat. I'm your host, Chris, and let's get into it. The reason that we are doing this episode today of all days is because there is a game that I am excited about. And I try not to be excited about games, not on the level of, oh, this is going to be the greatest thing I've seen in so long. This is going to be so good. This is going to be so incredible. There's so many things they're doing that I have high expectations for. I try to just be excited from the perspective of, oh, a new game that I'm interested in. Fantastic. Well, right now I am excited about a game. And I started looking into it and I went, oh, wait, I need to not look into this any deeper. Because I had seen the trailer and I went, oh, this is amazing. And then I set it aside, got it out of my head. And then I started looking at some Steam reviews and I went, oh, people are saying really intense positive praise for this game. And I went, okay, time to stop reading Steam reviews. I need to not get it in my head that this is going to be an amazing game. I need to just go, this will be a new experience. Or maybe it'll be a new twist on an old experience. So the game I'm talking about is called, what is it? Clara Obscura Expedition 33. I know it's called Expedition 33. I believe it's made by a French studio, and there's a couple mechanics in it that make me go, ooh. If you've been listening to this podcast long enough, you know that I like a little extra interaction in my turn-based combat, and you know that I like turn-based combat. Well, this game looks like it's got that. And that is something that I have been hungering for the longest time. I have not had beautiful, wonderful, reactive turn-based combat since Legend of the Dragoon, which is the first episode of this podcast, is about that game. I wonder how different that episode is. Maybe I should go back and listen to it. I don't know if I could stand to. But anyway, I digress. At some point, I'll have to listen to that and see how much has changed in terms of the structure and my own delivery and so on and so on. That would be an interesting exercise. But anyway, this game excites me, and I am taking intentional steps to not get super hyped on it. I'm not looking into the details. I'm just going, okay, it sounds like it's going to be a good time. But it is so hard to manage those expectations. You can't make yourself not be excited about it once you get excited about it. Or at least I don't think I can. Maybe I can wait long enough that I stop being excited about it, but I don't know what the effect that has is. I don't know if it'll still damper my enjoyment of the game or what exactly happens there. But what I do know is that if I go into a game blind and it blows me away, oh man, that's what I'm in it for. That's why we get so jaded sometimes. We played so many games that every new game is just a version of an old game. And we go, oh, it's just the same thing. Same thing with books and movies and whatever. But when a kid watches a movie for the first time, they got no idea what is going to happen. Is the good guy going to win? Is the bad guy going to win? They got that twist ending every time. They're watching Cinderella and they're like, what is this crazy thing going on with this slipper? They have no clue whatsoever. In the same way that a kid has no clue when they just look at the world around them. They see like grass and they look closer at it and they're like, oh, what's this texture to it? They look at a leaf and they're like, this has little veins going through it. What's going on? And they can look with such wonder and joy. And I want to get as close to that wonder and joy as I can when I'm playing a game. Now, there's a problem that we run into with this. Back in my day, not to go full old man, but I'm doing it. Back in my day, we didn't have a ton of YouTube videos dissecting the game. We didn't have every little detail you could ever want. We didn't have trailers to the extent that we do now. We just had the back of a box and the game. Sometimes you get a demo disc, which was amazing. But you just have the back of the box, a couple screenshots, little description. You go, oh, well, maybe that's good. You didn't get to watch the gameplay. You didn't get to, like, lock in. Everything said it has 30 plus monsters, which meant 31. Or 500 plus hours of, well, no, I guess they didn't say that, but I guess some JRPGs probably said 100 plus hours of content. There was just descriptions, and you had to go off of that. So it was a bigger surprise. But now, not so much. I talk sometimes with one of my siblings about how wonderful it would be to go back to the days where you just have no idea what you're walking into when you play a game. But there are so many games out there that it's hard not to vet it at least a little. You know, you look at the review score just a hair, you go, that's a low review score. Maybe I should look a little deeper before I buy this. And then before you know it, you know everything about the game and you're no longer surprised. Or, oh, this game has a really good review score, but sometimes I don't like horror games, so let me dig a little deeper. Or, oh, let's watch this Let's Play before I play it. There are so many ways to kind of pull your experience away because you want to save some money, which is very understandable and very reasonable, especially with prices of games going up gradually. But you can lose the joy. And I want that joy back, which is why, at the very least, I'm not rewatching the trailers for this game that I'm excited about. This Expedition 33. I'm not rewatching it. I'm not looking at the screenshots. I'm not reading any more reviews. I'm giving myself a little bit of time as well before I pick it up. I don't have to buy it as soon as it's out. It's okay. We'll talk about it once I play it, whenever I get around to playing it. But I am excited about it. and that's why we're talking about expectations. And I realize more than anything, I just want to rant about that game once I play it. I think that will be, but then I'm setting expectations for you. This is the inner conflict of this podcast. I want to talk about a game that I love, but I don't want to spoil it for you, which is all right. Maybe that's one of the reasons I've started leaning towards talking about more big picture game development things. And I'm also just thinking about the big picture things more these days. But I digress. Let's go back to talking about expectations and how it relates not just to playing games and being a consumer of games, but to developing games. I find myself thinking, yeah, there is the angle of how are you going to present your game to the audience? How are you going to make sure that they're willing to buy it, but also make sure that they're still going to enjoy it enough? What happens when the hype machine goes crazy? And what happens when you have really high expectations for your own development? I've said this before, and I will say it again and again. One of the reasons why I enjoyed making my first game so much, and even doing all of the small projects that led up to making my first game, is because I had very low expectations. I don't mean that I was beating myself up and saying, oh, this is going to fail, this is going to be terrible, this is going to be the worst thing ever, blah, 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 I suck, etc. No, not at all. What I was saying was, I'm not really that worried about where this ends up. I'm not that worried about what it does. What I want to do is this. This is the goal. And what I expect is just to accomplish this thing, make a nice game, give myself something that I can be proud of. My expectations were finish a game, learn programming, finish a game. And I think that is the reason why I enjoyed that project so much. And the reason why I enjoyed getting back into programming some more the other day, because I just looked at it and went, stop looking at the big picture. Stop looking at the project that's going to be finished 2 years down the road. Just look at some simple expectations. Just look at, hey, let's get our feet back into the water. Hey, let's just enjoy this a little bit. Hey, let's see what we can make today. And I think that this is one of the hardest things to do, and for me personally, one of the most important things to do in game development is allow myself to just expect some kind of, not even progress, but some kind of learning, some kind of experience, educational or artistic or creative experience each time I sit down to develop. And maybe that experience is frustration. Maybe that experience is a new puzzle for me to work on next time. Whatever it may be, getting to that point where I am both expecting some kind of progress and looking forward to it, and not getting hooked into the long-term payoff big project thing so much that it slows me down or stops me, that is a difficult balance for me. I don't know if it's a difficult balance for you. I have a feeling it probably is. Procrastination is common for a lot of reasons, and I suspect that this is one of them. I think that we look at it and we have these huge expectations, and then we go, this project is huge, so on and so on and so on. And then we end up just not working on it. Or we end up working on it, getting disappointed, stepping back, creating a new project, working on that, getting disappointed, stepping back, repeat. And I think this is a big part of that. Now, as far as marketing a game, I really think it's important to... I'm probably not good at marketing, actually, now that I'm saying this. I focus more on people's enjoyment of a thing than how good it sounds. I like to set low expectations and then over deliver. I like to, how we put it in retail, under promise, over deliver. I'm sure other people have heard that phrase, used that phrase wherever. If you're expecting something to arrive in 5 days, you tell the customer it'll arrive in 7 to 10 days. And then when it arrives in 5 days, you're good. When it arrives in 6 days, they're still excited because you got it early. If you expect it to arrive in 5 days and something goes wrong, they're going to be upset. So you give yourself a little buffer, right? You give yourself just a little something to go, okay, we're good. But that can be bad, I think, for marketing, I assume. But then I also kind of think, if you get a game and you have low expectations and it blows you out of the water, you're going to start talking about it to other people. But then maybe that can be bad. There's so many different angles, and I just don't think we can control for all of them. This is one of the reasons I haven't really gotten into the whole marketing thing, because it just feels like there are too many factors that people are trying to manipulate, and I don't buy into it that much. I mean, I think there are fundamentals that I probably just haven't looked into and don't understand, but how do I phrase this? I don't think that a really good advertising campaign is the secret to success for a game. I don't think that I think a really bad advertising campaign can probably screw your game, right? Like with anything. But I think I want to believe that if a game is really good, everyone will hear about it. And I don't think that I have proof to support that, really. But it's kind of an impossible thing to request. Like, there are going to be games out there that are really good that nobody hears about, but you only know once you've heard about them. Like, it might be an unprovable thing. Like, it might just be like, you can never prove that there are good games that are hidden that nobody finds out about, because as soon as you find out about it, now it's suddenly a case of, no, people found out about it, and now it's become popular. So, but I think it is the case. I think there are games that are phenomenal that you haven't heard about. You know? Look at people like Jacob Geller. He loves to do little like documentaries on these very unique games, but at the same time, those games tend to be very strange. They don't tend to have that huge mass appeal. They're good, but they're good for a very specific audience, and that audience ends up finding them from watching his videos. So it's a bit of a catch-22. I've gotten off track again. Forgive me. Let's get back on track here. Setting expectations for the audience. I think it's important to keep your surprises, right? That's what I want to do, at least. I want to make sure that I keep something in reserve. I want the player to play the game and go, oh, wow, I didn't expect that. I want there to be little magic tricks tucked away, things that they never saw coming that have a huge positive impact on the overall experience. I don't want this to be something where they read the back of the box and they get exactly what's on the back of the box. I don't want them to watch a Let's Play video and understand everything that's going on in the game. I want people to open the game and go, oh, this is a little bit fresh, this is a little unique, this is a little interesting. But that's down the road. That's not next week, that's not next month. That is 3 projects from now. You know, that's after I've made, well, maybe not 3 projects from now, but that's after I've already gotten into the meat of a project. That's content. That's stuff that I don't have to worry about right this second with where I am in all of my projects. And that's so easy to fall into that trap. To look at your project and go, this is what I want it to be. This is where I want to go with it. I'm going to focus in on that. When you're not ready to carve it out. You don't even have the block of marble in front of you yet for you to start shaping. You don't have the raw materials yet for you to turn into a game. You don't have the systems in place. You don't have the design in place. You don't have what you need. At least I find myself doing that. And there's a delicate, tricky balance that I have not yet figured out between planning and experimenting. And I'm sure it's different for every game, different for every idea. But there are times when planning prevents me from experimenting, and there are times when experimenting prevents me from being at all efficient. Right? There are times when I'm like, oh, well, let me try this and this. And then I start rolling and rolling and rolling. And then I go, oh, wait, now that's baked in. Okay, well, we got to go back and redo all of this stuff because the system is actually going to be completely different. I'm talking about prototyping. I haven't figured out a good system for prototyping, I think, is what I'm saying here. And I think when you're in that prototyping phase, it's important to open yourself up to different ideas. Open yourself up to, maybe I want to double jump, maybe I don't. We don't need to go in and say, no, this game is going to be exactly this way. Maybe that doesn't end up feeling right. Maybe you give it a shot, it's not right. You know, it's a little messed up. When I made Soot, initially I had a idea for how the jumping was going to work. There was like a double jump thing going on, and then the double jump ended up turning into a leap, a wall stick, and the movement was completely different than it originally was. But I had already designed a bunch of the levels. I had to redesign all of that. I did not have a clean prototyping system. Now I'm in the situation where I'm thinking too much about the planning. I'm really trying to make sure that I don't end up in a corner, and I have this expectation for myself that I am going to keep it clean and locked in and smooth, and the development process is going to be so nice and comfortable and not at all a roller coaster ride and incredibly difficult and frustrating. It's like, brother, you're developing a game. It's going to be an incredibly difficult and frustrating roller coaster ride. You got to accept that, my man. And I don't want to. But maybe I should set that expectation and say, hey, look, dude, it's going to be really hard. Because that's what I was thinking the first time I got into it. And I was like, okay, let's go. Let's have at it. Seems good to me. If you start thinking, no, I've got this on lock, I know exactly what I'm doing, I'm going to do a great job. Well, then you get your sophomore album where everything is a mess And everybody goes, man, that first album was so much better. What is going on with this thing? So I have a lot of thoughts about expectations, clearly. And my default is maybe less is better. Plan for stuff, but don't expect things. I'm not sure exactly how to put it into words, but I hope that it's come across in this longer form lecture on it. Let me see if I can put it into one nice, clean summary. Just a nice, catchy little phrase. Do not expect a specific result, but do plan to move in a certain direction. I think that's what I'm trying to get at as far as my own development philosophy. Attempt something, try to move in a certain direction, but then see what it is so you're not blinded by your own expectations. Here's my question for you this week. Can you think of a time when low expectations helped you to enjoy something or to do better with something? I know that's a bit broad, but then you can dig a little deeper in that and go, what about it? Like, how were the expectations low? Did you just not have expectations? Did you think it was going to be terrible and then it was good? Did you just think, here we go, and then it turned out really well? I mean, there's low expectations in the I'm beating this up kind of way, like this is going to be bad. And then there's just not having much of an expectation and being like, yeah, and that's completely fine. Which one of those feels more valuable to you? And also, are you any good at controlling your expectations? Because I feel like everybody says like, oh, well, let's just control our expectations. I have so much trouble with that. That's a difficult task. Once you get excited about something, it's hard to just go, well, let me chill out about it. It'll probably be this, it'll probably be that. Like, it's hard to do that without just talking yourself down in a way where you're kind of beating the thing up and going, oh, it's not going to be that good because it's probably bad. Like, then you're creating a negative expectation instead of just eliminating any expectation. It seems tricky to me, is all I'm trying to say. That is everything that I have for you all this week. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you in the next one. Until then, get out there, make some stuff, and have fun with it. Bye-bye.